Hi everyone, my name is Aldwyn McGill and I'm the president of Caribbean Stars and the editor of Star Soccer Review magazine. We are an organization out of Toronto, Canada, which is affiliated to FIFA. As I move forward here now with my opinion on the normalisation clause of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, that this will be one of the few times that I will be doing any comment on ongoing situations. However, this is a pressing matter and it coincides with our release of the interview of Keith-Lacroix, who is the chairman of the technical committee of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. I would be remiss if I did not mention that our distribution to the email address also included CONCACAF Communication and CONCACAF Media. It brings the eyes on us who released this video with the timing of the normalisation invokement on the association. To that I say to you that FIFA has the authority and the power to invoke the normalisation clause. It should also be comfort to most of the Trinidad and Tobago football supporters that at least the financial situation in the country in football is probably going to come to an end. In order for FIFA to do that, obviously they would have to come in and do day-to-day operations to find out all the glitches and to do a proper forensic investigation to see the inadequacies or what could have happened over the years. It is no secret that the Trinidad and Tobago Football Federation and later association has been having financial difficulties. They are unable to pay their coaches. Even the present executive that was disbanded did move into what seemed to be a $50 million deficit. So everyone interested in the welfare of the football in Trinidad should be comforted that it seems like the financial situation will be resolved. As far as the timing, it coincided with the release of an interview of one of the executives. So be that as it may, or whatever that leads to, maybe the situation was sitting on the desk, and or because of the video release that cited or invoked this normalisation clause. So again, I have no problem with the normalisation investigating the finance situation. Where my concern is, however, is the timing and the projection that at the end of the normalisation period, the committee is going to oversee an election. Now, as far as I can remember, when there was situations in CONCACAF and the CFU where members and executive members were in disrepute of the statutes of the organization, they were suspended or banned. So again, unless there is new clause or new bylaws or something I'm missing, I don't understand why the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association has to have another election. With that, I say to those who've been calling in and make me aware of the situation that was already privy to, that David John Williams ran in 2 elections one for presidency of the CFU and the second as the TTFA president, and in losing both elections, the people that were duly elected were removed for different reasons. Now, all I can say based on the facts is that it sure doesn't look good, but it has probably nothing to do with David. However, my question to David now is he still willing to be the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, and is he still willing to run for office at the end of the normalisation period? Should that be the case, the perception would be there that he could have been instrumental in getting this situation sanctioned. Also, when you look at my interview of him only about five or so months ago, he did indicate in the interview that it was very stressful for him and his family in going through allegations of corruption and financial misdeeds. So, based on FIFA taking over the operation of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association that he has run for the past 4 years, it is beyond me why or if he would feel comfortable running for that position. David and I, we are acquaintances. I've known him for a while. He's a serious family man, a businessman, but this is not the light that you would want to be in regardless of what happens. Of course, the previous management under Tim Key, I was privy to. I did interview Tim Key, as you all know. The interviews are there, and he also inherited financial problems. So the financial situation has always been there, which goes back to the timing of this normalization and the removal of the executive. Could this not have been done in a less drastic manner? The thing that bothers me the most about this, besides the timing of the normalization on the same day that we released an interview of one of the members of the executive of the T.T.F.A, but is the fact that there's an election projected at the end of the normalization period, which doesn't seem proper when a body has been duly elected by its membership. If the normalization committee is going to oversee an election after putting everything in place and cleaning up everything, we and I understand that now the 3 of the members thus far of the normalization committee is in Trinidad, granted maybe not in football, but during the course of their investigation, would they not have perceived biases based on their findings or based on where their support lied prior to this? I think this is something that FIFA has to look more seriously into, but I'm hopeful that democracy will rule and the people that were voted in be allowed to finish their term in office. Besides having problems financially, the Trinidad and Tobago football, in terms of personnel, has been drained. There seems to be no development, as we recognized in the 2 interviews with the heads of the past and the previous heads of the association. One would like to negate the college intercal, and the other was the president of that area. My take on that is that we need coaches who would go down and develop these players. This whole trend of everybody selling players, and as soon as a person shows a little potential, we ship them out, and they enter some frustrating situations abroad. It is obvious from what I'm seeing over the years that there is no real gelling of players in the Trinidad and Tobago team, from the overseas international to the local players. I've watched the Jamaica contingent and how they had the pride. I've seen it with the reggae boys, and I've seen it with the reggae girls. Granted, the reggae girls were predominantly from the US, but they adapted the Jamaican culture. They wanted to know their Jamaican culture, and they understand what representing Jamaica was all about. I guess it's a little harder in Trinidad and Tobago when you're not winning, but if you're going to build, you have to build it with the same attitude, that even if they come from outside, they have to appreciate the culture, not the lateness, not exactly the partying, not exactly the liming, but the dedication to improve and to want the country to win when it goes in competition. So besides the financial and the normalisation clause, there's a lot more that's lacking in Trinidad and Tobago football. So where are the coaches? We have the new coach with Terry Fenwick, who promises to bring in international players. Well, my advice to him is, when he does that, let's hope they can blend with whatever local players are there. For those who've been sending me information which I consider to be negative on the background of some of these newly appointed officials in the TTFA, who would you like to see running the organization? Or are you more comfortable with the organization being extinct, or with FIFA running the organization? Make up your mind. For I understand there haven't been much to cheer for in the Trinidad and Tobago football, but be mindful when you continue to be the opposition, when you continue to look for things to talk about negatively, you end up being a negative person. And if it goes on too long, nobody can build with your opinions and with your suggestions. So this is another situation that's starting to take place in Trinidad and Tobago, where everybody is talking about everybody else and nobody understanding what their position is. So to me, there's a lot besides this normalisation clause that has to happen in Trinidad and Tobago football. I could only end by saying that I have these information, I have videos of the Haiti president. This is a country who went through earthquakes and everything else, and is a standard bearer for the Caribbean in CONCACAF. I have interviews with the coach from Martinique, who from that 2012 CFU Caribbean Championship was the best team and moved up and resurfaced in last year's Gold Cup. So all the teams around in the Caribbean are building, are stabilizing their structure. So the onus really is on Trinidad and Tobago to come out of this normalisation period thinking positively and in a position to support whatever talent their coach put on the field. FIFA two most impressive slogans to me is fair play and say no to racism. And dealing with the Caribbean, they should ensure or try to ensure that everything that's done in this process is above board, is clear, is transparent, and the decision at the end of the day is fair. So as far as the existing committee, all I can say is it would be best if they just hold their peace. There's nothing they can do. I don't think they should be any more upset, at least if they inherited a 50 million deficit and it's going to be cleared up by FIFA. They should welcome that. I do not think they should be having to go into another election after they have won one. So these are the areas that I have concerns about, and that's all I have to say to those who wanted to know my opinion on the matter. There's nothing for me to fear about in any retribution from FIFA or CONCACAF or whatever. I've been there, seen it all, done it all, and in this situation I think it's very serious and it needs someone to say something and put a handle on the situation. Thank you for your time, and we'll see where this all leads.